Good evening, everybody. Hi, guys. Um, Last night I did a video again, putting together a stator. If you haven't seen that video, you might want to go back after this and go watch. I'm just going to let you know, most of this is kind of boring to watch. This is really more about how how my stators are put together and how they're designed. Once you get the gist of it, you don't need to watch the whole video, but some of you others are looking for more detail and more information, so you might want to watch the entire video. Once you get the gist of how this is done, then you can just click on out. Um, Last night, for those of you here, we assembled this last night. Let me lower this light a little bit better. There we go. And this stator here is the one that I built. Now, before I signed off, I didn't do any test on this. Turns out this is quite amazing. And I've only got one wrapping all the way around. It's basically a metal box, 5 sides with the 5th side wide open like you're supposed to. And the magnet in there, which is a neodymium magnet, 2 inches by an inch by 1/4 of an inch thickness in 42, in is Nancy 42. That's the strength of the magnet. Is cased with this metal box all the way around it. Now you'll notice I've got that magnet in there almost dead center in this box. Really close to dead center. Okay, so let me show you something interesting that I noticed last night. I didn't even think to test it. But this is this stuff that I got out of a VCR. I highly suspect this MuMetal is some kind of metal that's designed to protect against EF, electromagnetic fields, and VF, or RF, I guess I should say, radio frequencies. So I cut a piece of this last night and made this box out of it. That's the video before this. This is Stator build number 2, so go back to number 1. Now, check this out. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Now, what I did here, the whole concept here is to block the magnetic flux or magnetic field from coming all the way through the top of this, despite that the magnet is like just a 1/2 inch away. I mean, it's really close. That's not even a 1/2 inch. It's like, I don't know what that is, 3/4 of an inch in there. But anyway, I'll show you something here. I did something that I didn't think to do before. This is a magnetic screw here. Let's see, let me get a magnet to show you all this. It looks like a brass screw, but it's not brass. Brass screws, as you know, are not magnetic. But this is a screw that looks like brass, but it's not. It's truly, iron or steel or a combination of that, as you can see here. Let me show you, pick it on my hand here. See, it's a real genuine, good old-fashioned screw with iron or metal or a combination of both in it. Okay, so so what I did last night, what I didn't do last night before I signed off, I didn't think to take this and test this. Now let me get this down a little lower here. Look at this. Now sticking to it. There's a little bit of attraction. It's very negligible. Okay, the whole idea is to get the top of this dead, so there's no flux getting through. But on the bottom side, watch this. Now the reason the bottom versus what I refer to as the top doesn't hardly have any attraction was and is because I took these scraps. I took these scraps last night after we signed off, which came from the scraps from building this box here. And what I did is I systematically slid not one but 2 of these up in here. Probably can't see it, of course, but there's 2 of these slid up in here, up there at the top. It's right right up in there. But there's not enough light to shine it very well. Maybe that'll work. There, yeah, you can see it a little bit, can't you? Okay, so right up in there, there's one, and then I slid another one in there between a couple more of these pieces of artboard. This is artboard here. I use it for spacers and map board, whatever you want to call it. People use it to glue photographs to, or mount large pictures to use it for map board around the picture itself. Anyway, I put a bunch of lines on it, cut it up for 2" by 1" spacers. 3 of these combined makes a 1/4 inch. All I'm asking you to do when you build these is make sure you have a 1/4 inch all the way around. So what I did is that I added these pieces up in here, 2 of them, up inside there to further block the shielding. Now, if I had anticipated this in advance, knowing what I know now to think to do this, I would have cut these a little differently, made them a little bit larger, and I would have even cut a piece for the back side in here. So when you build one of these, utilize your scraps. That's what I'm suggesting to you. And so that's how I achieved this. So now this is the top, and you just doesn't do anything. You flip it over, and voila, you got a very strong magnetic field. Because I don't have those extra pieces, which is these. Oops. I don't have these extra pieces in there. So that will be considered the bottom. Now you got to make sure that, you know, this is all done in an attraction mode. So whatever side you decide on to make the extra shielding on one side, on the inside, that you decide whether it's going to be the North Pole or the South Pole. Because once you build a stator, it's going to be too much trouble to take this apart and flip the magnet inside. Otherwise, if you want a reversible stator, then I strongly suggest you treat the top side and the bottom side equally. Then there will not be a top side or a bottom side. Then you can flip the stator over either way and both will be equal. It's probably the best way to go. Because otherwise, if you put a whole bunch of magnets, or when you do, put your armature magnets onto your wheel, if you get this wrong, or you get your armature magnets wrong, you have positive and negative, or negative and negative poles, you're going to have to switch something around. Either you're going to have to rebuild the stator, or you're going to have to switch all the magnets on your wheel around. So if you make one of these so it's universal, then you just flip it, and that'll make your job real easy. Okay, so now last night after we got offline here, I looked up the price of MuMetal, a sheet of it. I never really had priced it before because I figured it was pricey, so I never bothered because I can't afford it. Well, I looked it up anyway. I was right. Just an 8" I think it was 8 by 5" sheet, and it's about the same thickness here. I don't remember how many millimeters thick it was, but it was not much thicker than an American dime. It's $28 for just that tiny little sheet. I don't even know if that sheet would be big enough. They basically would take one sheet to do one of these, because this takes 4.5 inches. It's 4.5 inches from here all the way back here, another inch around here. Actually, it's an inch, inch and a quarter, and then another 2 inches up here. So it's basically, whatever the math is, this is 4.5 inches all the way around. And so 4.5 and 4.5 is 9, and those sheets only come in 8. So one of the things I'm thinking tonight, rather than building yet another box around this box to complete this stator, is that I'm just going to pick a side here for polarity, and then I'm just going to build only on the outside here, and then just tape the layers on top of this instead of trying to build out the bottom, because I have very little of this material left that I stripped out of a VCR machine. So I've got one other sheet left, and I got to build 4 of these. So otherwise, we'll be back to the drawing board with this older, inferior product, which is tin, which is how I built my other stators that you see in my other videos. Okay, so there's a real easy way to do this without getting involved. I'm going to show you how to do this without a ruler, so how you can eyeball this. This way it doesn't make any difference whether you do this in millimeters or inches. You're just going to do this a real simple way. So that's the way I've done all my stators in the past. I never broke out a ruler except to use it for a straight edge to draw straight lines. So without further ado here, let me show you the method to my madness, how I go about this. Now remember, the whole goal here is to shield this magnet in such a way that the front of this focuses the flux when it comes out. And that's basically what we're doing, just like I said last night, like a headlight or a flashlight, a headlight of a car, you can focus the beam of light coming out of the front of the vehicle. And in the vehicle, there are mirrors in there, and it focuses the beam to concentrate the light as we drive down the road. Well, that's what I'm doing here. The magnet's recessed back there about a full inch, and we can move that up or back as we need to. And we're focusing the flux coming out of this. So we can give it direction, just like giving direction to a beam on the headlight of a car. So that's the whole concept behind this stator. Then the other concept behind this is that we want the top of this to be basically no magnetic flux coming out of this box from the magnet inside. Once we achieve that, we're ready to go. If there's a little bit of leakage out here in the back, it's not really that important because the stators, we do want to, take care of this on the back, yes, but it's not as critical, I have found. And the reason being is simple. Is that on the wheel, what happens is that as this passes, it swings up and away. It just pulls up and away on the wheel like that, up and away. See? So it's really the wheel and the armature magnets don't get very close to this. But when I initially made these, I said, well, let's just make this as dead as possible. Well, it turns out there's probably a lot of extra work that's just not necessary. It's a cool effect when you put two of these stators together to repel each other. And then you turn them around and then they repel each other. But the effect is just that. It's just a cool effect on a video that most people, well, I don't know how much is most, but a lot of people said I faked it. I didn't fake it. It's very real. Yeah, I'll show you one last time here for what it's worth. This is what I'm talking about because I don't know which videos you've seen, which videos you haven't seen. Okay, here are the two of the three original stators I made in the very early stages of this. The third one I made, I took apart, and it's on a video called The Secret Behind the James Roney Stator. So that one I dissected. I literally tore it apart. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, here we go. You'll notice here, they repel each other, right? Of course. The door's wide open here, and you can't see it, but the door's wide open here. There's just thin metal tape over top of this. But if I was to poke my fingernail hard, it would go right through that. Okay, you turn these around 180 degrees to the back side, and then you'll notice there's no attraction. So it's just dead. You turn around and go the other way. But anyway, I didn't fake this in my other videos, despite what people say. Okay, so what we need to do here is make our job a lot simpler. So what I've done, I put these extra pieces up on top here, just do that, and slide them in, but make sure that they have spacers in there. I'm using, I don't have that in quite the way I should. I should have the magnet, 3 of these spacers, and then a piece of the MuMetal, and then 3 more spacers. And that way you have 2 of these slid in there. But you gotta remember, this metal cannot touch any other metal. So however you do it, just make sure everything's spaced in there. The space is the magic bullet. As soon as the magnet actually touches the metal or becomes extremely close to it, it just doesn't work anymore. Okay, so since I have to make 3 more of these here, I'm going to make another one showing you how I do this just by eyeballing it. And it's pretty straightforward here. And it's 9:15 anyway, so however many people are going to join are probably already here. And they'll see, the rest of the people will see it later. Okay, so go find yourself a VCR that doesn't work and tear it apart. You'll find 2 large sheets of metal in it. That's one of the 2 sheets that came out of it. So this is what I'm going to be using tonight. Okay, and then what I did is I cut up a whole bunch of these. Do not cut these to the size of the magnets. That's what I did. Big mistake. I cut these to 2 inches by 1 inch. It's just too tight trying to get these in there. So, you know, make it like 1 3/4 inch, or even 1 1/2 for that matter. And then they'll be easy to slide in and get positioned. Okay, so let me raise this up so we can see more what's going on. Okay. Okay, this is how I make these stators. What I do to eyeball this, here's a spacer right here. This is the same size as this. It came with the magnet. It's not quite as long though, as you can see. But it's almost the same height. It's close enough for government work, as the old saying goes. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to simulate as though that's where it's going to be sitting in the box. So approximately. We'll be able to improve upon the figure here by doing this. First thing is, we have to remember we're going to have what? 1/4 inch spacing all the way around it. Okay? So this is our 1/4 inch spacer. So we'll put that there to simulate the space. Then this needs to raise up to at least shield this. And then we want it 1 inch higher. Well, this is almost, but not quite, 2 inches long, but it's plenty long. So what I do is that I in turn put this here up to the edge of the metal right here. You see that? Okay. So allows me to approximate enough metal will be plenty when we bend this up to make the box that the magnet will be recessed into the box at least 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so the other thing too is that if you make the box a little bit too deep, that's actually to your advantage, because at a later date you could adjust the depth of the magnet if it's too deep or it needs to be deeper. So it's kind of a nice variable. Eventually, you know, if I ever get funded and get a machine shop, I'd like to make a stator that we can take screws, plastic screws or brass screws, and be able to just make small adjustments, how things move this way or up in this way, so we can position and move the magnet around to tweak it, assuming that everything else is going to work. Okay, so that's what I do here. Then the next step is to get this magnet centered this way, because these are going to be the walls that we're going to fold up to the other side of the box. Okay, so I just get 2 of these, and I just eyeball it, just make sure that they're centered. Either side. Wow, that was easy. That was luck. Okay, so that's fine on the left and right. And we've already done this part with this and this way. Can you all see that? All right, now we're going to do the same exact thing on the back side. Okay, so we're going to turn this around. Also, I want to make sure your magnet is pretty square with the edges. If you got a plastic square, you know, it would be a nice and handy thing to have. Mine are all metal. Okay, again, I'll put the spacer up here to simulate that, you know, 1/4 inch space. You know, here's that space that's going to be around it. And then we're going to take another one of these back here that's almost 2 inches long. And we're going to put that right here. And this becomes really where the cut begins and ends. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little mark right here. And that's the first stage. Now you have to make sure, unless you have a wood ruler or something wood, actually I'll use this. I was going to use a metal ruler, but this is quicker. Okay, what you want to do here is you now want to take that line and draw it straight all the way across. If they're in doubt, let's do this because I don't want to have a crooked box, because now I'm in doubt. Take off your magnet, unless you have a wood ruler, which I don't. Okay, where's the ruler? Here we go. Okay, and if you measure this, this should be approximately, now I do everything in inches, not millimeters. This should be 4.5 inches to, and it is. It's just a smidge short. So that's because those plastic spacers are not truly 2 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this to 4.5 inches. I was just trying to show you how to do it without a ruler. Okay, what I did would have been good enough, but I want my stators in their dimensions to be consistent. Consistent dimensions. Here we go. So that way each stator will react the same way. One stator won't be less or more than the other in its performance. Okay, 4.5 inches right there. Okay, and then just draw a straight line across. Okay. Now you're going to need to cut this. I have a pretty good large piece of scrap here left over, but it's not going to be quite 4 inches. It looks like this is going to be a little less. Okay. And do your best to get a nice clean cut and a straight line. And remember, this stuff is really sharp. The next part I'm going to do is tricky. So the next part is the hard part. I mean, it's got to be right, otherwise when you fold your box up, it's all screwed up and the spacers won't fit. At least not all of it. And we have to have a minimum of at least 1/4 of an inch all the way around. However, and I didn't plan on it this time either, if we were going to start adding these little guys here, they need to make this box just a smidge bit bigger to handle these real thin slivers. I mean, these are thin. It's like razor blade thin. So, but anyway, I didn't account for it when I made this. I should still be able to squeeze them in there though. Okay, and we're going to have more scraps too in a moment. Okay, so now comes the fun part. And that is, we have to put the lines on here, how this is going to be cut. Should have done that while I still had the magnet on there, at least the primary position of the magnet. So, forgot to do that here. Okay, let's do this here. Okay. So we'll put this back, oops, put this back on top, and get this camera back down. Okay. What we need to do here, got to get that centered. I'm just doing it by eye, then I'll measure it. Okay, it looks pretty good. I can't use my regular ruler because it's magnetic. I strongly suggest you grab yourself, if you're going to use a ruler, grab yourself a wood ruler somewhere. Or just do what I'm doing, just use the mat board to measure. Okay, now I got it centered. And is it centered left and right? Wow, I got lucky. I nailed that the first time. Got it. Okay. And because this magnet is really stuck on there really, really good, it's just not going to move. It's going to stay there. Now, what you want to do is your position where your magnet goes. Okay, just draw a line up against it. So can you see this here really good? Okay. 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 Now the inside of that line is the actual perimeter of your magnet. You take it off now. Okay. So that should be on there pretty darn accurate. Now that's going to be the bottom, if you will, of the box. That's where they're going to be positioned relative to the space and all the way around it. So as you might remember, I said, well, you have to account for this 1/4 inch spacer in there, all the way around. Okay, and over here, and over here, and over here. And then also, you have to account for it on the bottom side, because you can't have the magnet touching the bottom either. Okay? So we can't have the magnet touching anywhere whatsoever. All right, so now comes the interesting part. I usually just use this as my measuring tool. I know you all don't have this, but this is a 1/4 inch thick. Okay? So what I'm going to do here, I'll mark this off. Just, I could use the ruler, but I'm not going to. The whole point is to show you how you can do this without a ruler. Whatever you're using, about 1/4 inch or however many millimeters that is, just drop this down on there. Get that right on the edge there. I'm going to give that a little extra thickness to get those extra slivers in there. It's going to make this a little bit thicker, not much. It's so little, I'm sure I could spare it on the current size of the sheet that I cut. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Remember, this is that 1/4 inch space we're accounting for after we bend this box up. So give yourself a little extra berth, because if you make this too tight, then you're not going to be able to get your spacers in there, and this is not going to work right. And if you use a MuMetal, as hard and as rare as this is to get for free, or you can pay almost 30 bucks a sheet, I advise you not to make your tolerances too tight. That way you have some flexibility. It's better to have a little extra room than not enough. Otherwise, you just wasted a sheet of MuMetal. Okay, and then we have to do the same thing here on the sides. Okay. On the other side. Or other end, I guess we should say. Okay. And as you can see now, you can see the basic perimeter shaping up of the spacing around that magnet that we're going to fill with mat board in this case. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to follow these lines all the way out, because we have to score this. Okay, I'm going to be using it's designed to scrape up excess material from laying down floor tile, and it's also used to get up floor tile. It's really wide. I think it's a 4-inch blade. So you probably don't have one of those, but you need to find something like a chisel, a wide chisel if you can find one. Just something you can use, bang with a hammer to score this. Otherwise, when you go to bend this, you're not going to be able to make clean, tight, good corners. And it's just going to be a nightmare. You'll see. Each time you build one of these, you'll get a little bit better and a little bit better. And you're going to have to build 4 of these. So anticipate building 5 of them, because the next 4 will be really good. And the first one you'll build, you'll find it won't be all that great. But you don't know. I had one guy, he made 7 of these things. 7 of them. And I was impressed. I'm sorry I didn't find his video until years later. I think like 4 years later. And he was asking for my help, but all he had to do was write me. But I just, all kinds of people are replicating my work online now. And I just can't keep up with who's doing what online with my concept. Okay, there you go. See how that looks now? Okay, this right here, let me get a pencil to use for a pointer. Because this next part is really important. For those of you who have never really ever built a box with a single sheet of metal, or a single sheet of paper for that matter, which you take out some really thick cardstock, which is still printable for print. It will go through printers, but barely will go through a printer. Get some of that and you can practice on that. Okay, so what we're doing here is that from here to here, but not, you can't cross that line here. We're going to cut this with the tin snips here, and then here, right on the line. Gotta get right on the money. And then we're going to do the same thing down here, and then down here. Okay? And then what's going to happen is that when we fold this up, we're going to have two flaps here on the end that we're going to have to fold in. And you'll see that if there's too much material to fold it over, we'll have to cut some back. This seems to work pretty good. Okay, so now comes the next part. I put in my list of things that people needed to have with them, and one of them was like either a washcloth or something soft. And this is why. This is very hard. Something soft so you can score, so the metal will score easy. Okay? So then put this back up here. Okay. And we'll start this way, I guess. Okay, remember, all these, everything from these lines over, here and here, everything's going to fold up. Okay? So then I'm going to use this tool right here. It's, like I said, it's a floor chisel. Okay? And it's used for taking up tile off of floors. It's not, the blade's very dull. It's not very sharp at all. Okay, so, where's my hammer? There she blows. Okay. Now since my blade is not as wide as the line, I'll have to do this a couple times. Now I'm going to give myself a little extra slack here. I'm not going to make this too tight, because like I said, if you make your box too tight, then you'll have to make it over again. Just know that if you make this pretty close to correct, perform beautifully, exactly the way you see in my videos. Okay. And then on the other side, do the same thing. You'll notice that I'm not doing it exactly on the line. I'm doing it a little bit on this side. So this way we have a little bit extra play inside for the extra pieces that I'm going to slip in there. Okay. Right there, okay. And press down firmly as you do this. Okay. Okay, and now we have us here. As you can see, as I'm doing this, it's already starting to fold up into a box. But you just got to keep plugging along here. If you have to, you may have to flatten the metal back out if you have trouble working with it. But if you get the idea of what's going on, then you don't really need to watch anymore. But if you're still not quite certain, then just keep watching. The folding of the metal is the tricky part. And after that, you get the idea. Okay. That looks pretty good. Okay. The most important ones to score is these here, because these are the big folds. Yeah, you can see where it came through, the scoring here and here. So that should fold pretty easy. Plus I'll use pliers to help out. Okay, now for the cutting part. This is the part you got to get right. Okay. Okay. Like I said earlier, we're going to cut here. We're going to cut here, and here, and here, and here. Okay, we are not going to cut this. That will remain uncut. We're not going to cut that. It's just here, 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 and here. Okay. Now this is where you really need to get this straight. Don't goof up and get your lines crooked, or you're going to have an awful time trying to fold this box up into a nice tidy box. And don't go past your line. Just cut it short, because you can't reverse your cut if you cut too far. Here we go. Hey, Motorpoid? I can't even pronounce it. I can't even say your name. Motorpoid? Hi, Motorpoid. Or sorry, I just Gang of Four. Hey, you're back. Yeah, well, I'm trying to make a tight box. We'll see how tight this box gets. Within reason. That's why I'm giving myself a little extra slack here to work with. Okay. I got that crook of the thing twisted on me the last second. It shouldn't be too bad though. Here we go. Okay. Now comes the fun part. Okay. Now, last night, I accidentally bent these in too far. It's best not to bend them in too far because you want them to be spring loaded. Because if they're not spring loaded, then they'll actually get in the way of trying to slide in your spacers. Okay, let's see here. Okay, now where's my pliers? Okay, left my pliers at the wheel. We'll get around to the wheel. That's when things get fun. That's when things will get interesting. Either this is going to work or it isn't. But based upon the previous stuff and the testing I've done and the videos I've made that I've been accused of faking, it should work. Okay, so let's do this here. It should have been pretty easily and exactly where we need it because of the scoring. This is why the scoring is so important. Let me raise this up a little bit. Okay. Here we go. See, I didn't bend it in too far. I'm leaving that back just a little bit. Just leaning back just a smidge. That way, when I fold the other pieces around it, it'll be spring-loaded backwards toward the, away from the center of the box. You'll see, these things are a real nightmare to put together, but eventually get to the point where it gets easier and easier. Okay, now comes the big fold. Just gently push on it, it'll start to give. Just nice and gently, just work it. You could always score it a little bit deeper too. Okay, there we go, that's one side. Okay. And then the last side here. There we go. Okay. Basically now it's starting to turn into a box. Okay. And then you're going to fold in your sides. This is where it gets dangerous. This is where you can cut yourself real easy. Because you got to hold the whole thing. Okay. If this metal was much thicker, this would be really hard to bend. Ideally, a metal shop would be the way to go. Prefab all the parts and just put them together. Boy, it's hard to bend over. I probably should have gloves on. Okay, I'll bend that down further in a moment. Just mash it down. There we go. Okay, we'll get the rest of the way down in a moment. Actually, let me do this here. I'm gonna cheat a little bit here. Now we'll do this here. I should have scored that a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, best solutions are generally in front of you. I agree. You know what's better than learning? MuMetal's 80% nickel, and couldn't read the rest of your message. YouTube took your message way too quick. Yeah, it's a mixture of metals for sure. But you know what's better than learning? Realizing. Learning can take days, weeks, months, years, and some things, life is just too short to learn. Whereas some things can be realized. And it's a heck of a shortcut. You can realize it, which takes less than the moment it took me to say all of that. Okay, there we go. Now the next is to do whatever final adjustments I can do, getting these lids to lay down flat, because I'm going to tape this up now. And you can see both sides of the box are pretty close to even, isn't it? I did a pretty good job there. See? Okay. So, bang it down a little bit more with a hammer. Oops. Banging on this wasn't a good idea necessarily. That's causing this corner here to collapse. I'll have to get a needle nose plier and fix that. What it is, there's some kind of, what it is, they put like a foot there or something. It's really goofing up this corner, so it doesn't want to flex the way it normally would. Okay, let's see if I can. There we go. Okay. Now comes the not so tricky part, and that's to tape this together. Because I'm not about ready to try to solder this together. Ideally that would be nice, but it's not going to happen. Okay, so I use metal tape. And there's a little trick to doing this. You can use masking tape. I don't recommend using Scotch tape. If you want to use something more durable other than this metal tape, which is very expensive, use electrical tape. I use tons of it on my projects. It's great. Okay, so what you want to do here, you want to take the top flap and start with the tape on top. So when you wrap it around, you can push that flap downwards. Okay, so and we're going to do this twice because we're going to have extra tape that will wrap around these sharp edges. This makes this friendly to handle, a lot more friendly. Okay, there we go. Okay, as you can see here, yeah, lighting is not all that great, is it? I have 3 lights here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 lights here. Every one of them is 75 watts. One of them is 150 actually. Okay, so as you do this, just press down now. Okay. Okay. Now, unfortunately, that flap is in the wrong direction for me. If I thought about this ahead of time, I kind of forgot. I should have had this flap out and this flap under. But you know what? Maybe it's not too late. Let me do that now. See how much trouble is that going to be. There we go. There we go. Flux is really crazy. I mean, if that flux can find a way to get out of this box, it'll do it. So every little bit of extra care that we put into it is important in the construction. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now come around here. Okay. Press down really hard. There we go. Okay. Everything from here on is easy. Okay. And then another piece. This piece will be the part that makes this extra secure and extra safe to handle. There we go. If you don't have fingernails, you're in trouble. Some people bite their nails, so you'll have to find, maybe have a razor blade or something. Or maybe you can do like I did, twist it a little bit to get it started. Okay. Now we're going to do this extra over the top. And that will be used to fold it inwards. Now the trouble is with this metal tape, it's very unforgiving to try to change directions or make small adjustments, unlike you can with masking tape. Then I always fold this in first. And then the other side. And then do this. It may not look pretty, but it sure suffices. Okay. And there you go. Now we have a, what you want to call this, a stator box made of MuMetal. You can see it's pretty decent shape. Okay, so what the next thing is to put the magnet, get the magnet in there dead center. But you only need to do it dead center if you want to use both sides of this, so you can flip it. You know, polarity north versus south. So, but in my case, I don't care, because I just make sure that I've got the right polarity on the correct side. Okay, so, because I have no reason, once I set up in north or set up in south, I have no reason to change it. You can do this project in either north attraction or south attraction. This doesn't make any difference. Because, you know, you're still going to have north on one side and south on the other side. You know, opposites attract. So I don't know why it would make any difference which polarity you put in the stator and what polarity was on the armature of the armature magnets. I don't think there's any difference. I mean, I don't think it has any effect in the outcome of the project. Okay. Now, the part that it says next, and the most important part, we're almost done here. You got to take these and you got to put them down on the bottom of this, because we can't have the bottom of this touching the magnet. So hopefully you got a bunch of these ready and cut out, and just drop them in there. Okay. Now, what I did, I cut out a whole bunch of these strips, put lines on them at 2 inches, which was a mistake. And let's see, how much slack do we have in here at 2 inches? Actually, you know what? Yeah. You know what? The 2 inches on this particular box looks like it's going to work really good. So I'm just going to keep it at 2 inches. The last box I made was just too tight. Every 3 of these is 1/4 of an inch. Every 3 of these is 1/4 of an inch. So my experiments and research in the past shows 1/4 of an inch will suffice. It's plenty. And the further you get the space within reason, the more effective the shielding works. If the magnet's just too darn close to the shielding, the magnet overwhelms the shielding. Okay. Now remember, I have those extra pieces, those extra scraps from yesterday. So I'll be incorporating that into this. Okay, so. Boy, isn't this just exciting to watch? This is just so much fun. Oh, let's see here. Okay. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do. Okay, we're going to drop. We'll start off with 3 in here. Guess we'll make. Let me top on one side of this. Okay. We'll make this the top right here. Top. Okay, and let me go over to my wheel, which will be a nice surprise for you all to see. I got more parts for it today. So we can get the axle all suspended in the right place. This is going to be a suspended axle using some PVC piping around between a wood frame. I mean, trying to figure out how to suspend a bicycle wheel in such a way that you can put stators all around it is quite an undertaking. It's not something that you can just whip out of a hat. Okay, so let me make sure which pliers I'm going to be using. So let me go check my wheel, see which way the armature magnets are going. Be right back. Okay, and then what I'm going to do here, so I don't get confused, here we go. I'm going to write the word top on this. Of course, I won't be able to see it after I finish the assembly. So, the point of top and top is to make sure that I have this, you know, face up in the same direction here. Now this is tracking to the MuMetal. Hey Robert, is that much? It's that much each year? How much is what each year? You talking about the MuMetal sheets of MuMetal? I bet you the price of the MuMetal sheets of 8 inches by 5 inches fluctuates year by year. And I only shopped at one place. I didn't really shop it around. I'd be willing to bet you that if you bought enough of them, maybe like 8 sheets, maybe 10 sheets, you'd probably get them at $20 a sheet. Or maybe you can find somebody who's just got a bunch of it who's liquidating it. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so this is the top. I always start with the bottom. And I'm going to put 3 of these guys in here. I know you can't see in there very well, but it is what it is. I should have had my headlamp on. Alright. Actually, I'll come right back. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Okay, now I have my headlamp. Okay, let's see how better this is. I'll have to hold the headlamp. Okay, so thank you, Robert. I don't have my glasses on, so when you all send me messages on the screen, it's a little bit on the blurry side. I apologize. I think it was you, Robert, I believe. Okay, so now, now I'm only going to put 3 on the bottom. Let's see here, you can see right here 3 spacers, because I need extra space on this side for those extra pieces. Now, I strongly recommend you put your magnet in at this stage. Otherwise, it'll be a nightmare to put it in at a later date. Gang of 4, all the major airlines recently made adjustments in there, something or other, disappeared too quick. Okay. And I'll tell you what, that's hard to get that in there correctly. Whoa. It's fighting you all the way in. Gosh. The trouble is when you're dealing with the world's most powerful magnets, they really want to fight you. I get that in there right? No, it's in there crooked, isn't it? Yeah, it's still crooked. Okay, shove that guy down in there. Jeez. Voila. Okay. Now the next one becomes, the next trick is to get the wedges in behind the magnet. Okay. So, it's also really hard to do this and having to look past a phone and get this job done here. So just shove some more of these in here. Okay, they're going pretty easy. I'm using my left thumb to pull the magnet away from the metal wall there. Yeah, okay. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do 3 of these first. Okay. Get that pushed in there all the way, nice and flat. Oops. Guys, you know what I forgot to do? Nobody caught it, did they? I gotta take all this stuff out. Has anybody figured out what I forgot? Dang, boy, this is hard to get back out. I forgot to insulate the bottom of the box. Dang it. God, it's hard to get out of there. God, let go, let go. If you have brass pliers or tools, I strongly advise it. Okay. Lesson learned here. Don't screw up. It's too much of a pain to disassemble these things. Okay, I got to drop some of these in here on the bottom. Lay them flat in there. I initially did it, and for some reason they got turned around or something. Okay, must have been when I turned the box sideways. Okay, there we go. I'm going to put one more. I'm going to do 4 of these on the bottom. Okay. And then drop in the spacers. And drop in 3 on the bottom. Whoops, whoops. The word top is over here, so the bottom's over here. Okay. That's why I wrote the word top, so there would be no confusion. Okay. There we go. Now to put this magnet back in here. All right. That's where the fun begins all over. Just squeeze real tight on the magnet, squeeze real tight on the box, and then hope for the best. Gosh. Gosh. There you go. As long as you get it down in there square up against the wall, you're fine. Then you can move it around as you need. It's getting it in there, you know, perpendicular with the rest of the walls of the box. That's the trick. Okay. Put some of these on the side because the magnet wants to go back and forth. So get these in here while you still can, while it's nice and easy. Okay. Magnet's already trying to jump to the other side. Oops. Okay. Okay, there's our top. Okay, so let's do this here now. Put in 3 of these guys for 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to take that scrap of tin, not tin, the scrap of MuMetal, and I'm going to put that in there on top of that. Okay. And then we're going to put 3 more spacers for another 1/4 inch. And then I got 1 more scrap right here. There's that other piece of scrap. And you can see it's almost the size of the magnet. Probably the best way to have done this would have been to cut out another piece of MuMetal exactly the size of the top here. I just don't have the materials to spare, so I got to work with what I have. I have to build 3 more of these. Okay, so, and then 3 more spacers. Okay. Couldn't read your comment, I'm sorry. It says, seems like a lot of problems in the future. I don't know what you're talking about, because once you build these, you're done. You don't goof with these anymore. Remember, this is just the home project. When you get serious about all this and you got money, you get a machine. Maybe that's why a lot of people didn't understand when I made a video where I took one of my stators apart. But a lot of people still seem to be confused on how all of this was done. So that's why I'm doing this. I figured just do it on camera, it's no big deal. It'll serve as record over the years if YouTube doesn't delete my account. It's really strange that YouTube would shut me down twice. Just grown man playing with magnets, having some fun, showing cause and effect, what's possible and what's not possible. There are a lot of other magnet motor channels out there with really genuine fake videos. You can tell they're fake, yet they don't get shut down. They run year after year. Same videos stay up. But yet my videos are real and genuine, and I'm not showing any magnet motors at all running, and yet I get shut down. Okay, I think that's about does it. And then it's got to put some spacing on the end there. Let's see here. There we go. Then the last of this, and then we're done. Just put some spaces here on the end, because we can't have the magnet touching on the sides. Just stuff it full of spacers until you get it pretty filled up. It's pretty tight. Sometimes you gotta cut some narrow pieces because they won't quite slide in on the ends here. Looks like I already cut that one. Okay, put that one in here. And then put this one in here. The tighter you make this, the less likely these wedges are not going to fall out when you're handling it, moving it around. Okay, basically that's it. All that work just for that little bit. Would have been nice to have a 3D printer, I'll tell you. Okay, so now we'll take that screw. Let's test it and see how effective this is. Here we go. Let's see which is the top. Okay, remember this is kind of worn out now, the red ink. So let me write top again. Top. Okay. See, there we go. We'll flip it over to the bottom, which I did not shield it all that well. It's not too bad, but it's trying. It's got some magnetism to it. But the top, nah, it's got some magnetism to it, but it's almost dead. You know, even the sides. You can see here. You know, flip it around the other side here. And that magnet's real close to that edge. You can see it's right there. It's right there. There's the edge of that magnet. It's like that far away from the edge. And that's about it. Maybe just a little over 1/4 of an inch. And yet this screw won't even stick to it. So, shows you how good this metal is. A lot less work. Otherwise I have to use this cheaper stuff that I've advocated in my videos. It's just tin flashing. You have to build your box 3 times over, or just make sure you got plenty of layers on the top part. Well, that's everything. That concludes the building of the box. And then the last thing is to, if you want to take this one more step, I don't know if I'm going to. This is working pretty darn good on the top. I might add one more layer inside of here, improve the layering. But basically, I've negated pretty much all of the magnetic flux from this magnet in here. We must remember one thing at all times when doing this. This is so important. because without this basic understanding, if this was actually going to work and I can get this to continue to work like I had done in preliminary testing, it will never work if you fail to understand the following. Where's the magnet here? Okay, let's see. I'll just use this for a magnet. Just pretend like this is a magnet. This way I don't have to fight the magnetism. Remember, even though the magnet on this side, actually I guess I'm going to get a magnet again. Let me just use a real magnet. Okay, so here we go. This is a real magnet now. Okay, turn this around the wrong way. Yeah, okay. The force of attraction on the front side of this, oops. Whoa. I'm not doing that, it's doing it on its own. Ah! Oh crap, the magnet side's coming out now. Yep, let me get another stator I've already built. I'll have to repair that one. This is the one I built last night. Make sure I got the right traction. Okay, there we go. What happens is that on this side, as I just demonstrated, I'm going to hold on to this. I'm not going to let go of this time. The pull on the front of this is very powerful because this side is not shielded. It's just the raw magnet. And we have a raw, unshielded magnet in my right hand. However, on the back side of this, it doesn't pull anywhere near as strong. It's just not the same strength. So this side has less attraction. Remember, this is a magnet, this is metal. So this magnet is being attracted to this metal. That's just normal. But on this front side, this magnet is being drawn to that magnet in there. And the pull is way more powerful. So what we have is we have a real strong pull on the front of the stator, and then as the magnet on the armature goes over top of this, let me change the angle a little bit, as the magnet goes over the top from this pull, it gains momentum. And then on the back side, it's going to less counter attraction. So, sorry gang of four, I missed your message. Time I looked up, I didn't see it. Something about bite, and that's all I caught. But anyway, so on the back side of the stator, the counter attraction is nowhere near as strong as the attraction on the front. Well, I mean, that's really strong right there. It's like all I can do to hold that. Okay, but on the back side, it's almost negligible. So Newton's law says, Isaac Newton for that matter, he says that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Well, the action on the front of this is far stronger than the reaction on the back side of this. I mean, this is so negligible back here. And that's the whole concept behind the stator that I've designed. So whatever energy and speed is gained as the armature magnet passes over the top of this, not all of that is lost. Because if Newton's law, third law of attraction, indeed did apply here, then whatever I gained on this side, I would lose all of it, 100%. I would lose everything I gained on the backside. But the backside is weak, and they're strong. The front side is strong. So Newton's law no longer holds water. That's the way I look at it. And Newton's law, Newton, he didn't know about these materials back then. So, let's see here. I wish YouTube would leave these messages up longer. I'm sorry, guys, but unlike Facebook, those messages stay up there. It stays up there like 7 seconds. That's all I have a chance to read your messages. I appreciate it. I don't know if there's a way to go back and look. I think there is. I think I can look at them after the fact. So I'll have to go back and check your messages, and I'll respond to them individually for those that need, for the ones that need responded to. So anyway, so let me put this magnet down. So long story short, this is why my magnet motor, if you want to call it a motor, works. Because the field on the front of this is way stronger than the field on the back of this. So strong here, weak here. And so if Newton's third law of motion, attraction was correct, then the force of attraction would be equal on the backside, and it's not. We have far less attraction here and far greater attraction here. So whatever we gain as each magnet passes over this, the counter attraction does not cancel out all of the net gain. We still have some of the gain left over, which keeps this moving along. And then the next magnet and the next armature magnet comes along and repeats the same process. And that's the whole point, the whole way this thing works. And that's why people, when they see my videos showing test results of this, they think I have faked my results. Yeah, you can get a magnetic field adapter. Yeah, that's right. There is an app for it. Actually, I think I already have it in my phone. I forgot all about it. It's a EMF detector. It detects magnetic fields because the phone has a compass built into it. That's how our phones know direction. So you're right. Thank you for the reminder. I forgot all about that. And I believe I already got the app downloaded. I just never thought to use it for magnets. I use it to detect fields of flux from electricity. You know, if you go to certain places in the city or in intersections and places like that, there's crazy flux going on. You can scroll up on the messages and they will stay put. Okay, let me try it. Ha ha ha. Shows you how much. See, I've never done a live broadcast on YouTube. Hey, there you go. Cool. Thank you, 3D guy. Okay, cool. Awesome. One guy can't, Yab1 or whatever, can't quite read. It says, got some super jumbo craft stick about some thickness of thin spacers, 15/16 by 8, and just cut to 2 inches at Walmart, and wooden ruler, 47 cents. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. Anyway, yeah, but as soon as I stop touching these messages, they disappear. Okay. All right, cool. This is awesome. Wow. My God, there's a whole lot of messages here. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. I'll definitely go over these. One guy asked, is that aluminum? No, this is MuMetal. Gang of 4 asked. This is the MuMetal that I got out of a VCR machine. Aluminum will not work as shielding. You can't use it. Also, aluminum acts as brakes. If you apply or use aluminum in your stators, each time a magnet goes over top of the aluminum, you get this thing called eddy currents. I'm not sure if it falls under Ohm's law or not, but you get these eddy currents, and it acts like brakes. So you don't want to use any aluminum in your project where magnets are going to be in motion near the aluminum. If you go on YouTube and just look up magnets and copper, magnets and aluminum, you'll see people showing you how it acts like a brake. So if you ever need a brake for magnets, use aluminum. But aluminum is soft, whereas copper is more durable. Okay. Okay, I don't see any other questions pertinent right here. Just catch me online and I'll answer your questions there, because I really want to end this transmission. This has been long, an hour and 22 minutes. I try to do things quickly, but this is not meant to be a fast video. This is a show and tell and how-to video. So however long it is, however long it is. Okay, but that's it. I don't believe there's anything else here right now to do except sign off and go have a beer. It's Friday night here. I'm here on the East Coast, so, and it's 10:22 here on the East. And supposedly the country's getting their butts kicked with a big snowstorm that's coming my way, but it looks like the worst of it's going to go north of here. So, all right. I'll continue the next broadcast I'm going to do, unless I do a spontaneous one. It's going to be more when we get closer to the construction of the wheel, which is pretty much already done anyway. But I'll go over the details and how it's put together. Really what's important is just seeing this damn thing run. Okay? And hopefully my stators are built correctly, the way I built these in the past. Says you'll get this done, Randy. Hey, Randy. Well, thank you, Craig. Hope you enjoyed the videos too. You say you built 4 of my stators? No, have I? No, I haven't built 4 stators yet. When do you think I'll be showing the wheels spinning? Hopefully in about 10 days or so. I just got back from the hardware store and got the cross member for a PVC pipe, 3-inch. I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise and run that down across and run the axle through each side. It's a little hard to explain, but I can't use metal. I could use a 2x4, but that's so big and bulky. You'll see. I'm just having to jerry-rig this. Sorry, but I have to jerry-rig this together. I have to work with what I have. If it had been the old days when I had plenty of money before I got swindled out of my money and lost my wealth, I still have a little bit of wealth left, but I don't have any cash left. So I'm cashing in my chips, and maybe in a half a year or so, I'll be back up and running financially, and I'll be okay again. But for right now, I'm really next to broke. I have been for some time. So that's why I work with whatever I have. And I'm not asking anybody for any money, because then people think I'm just trying to swindle people out of money. Oh, good. Somebody says, Randy, you planning to make the Stators tomorrow? All I can say is watch out, you don't cut yourself, buddy. These things are sharp. Okay, that's it. Craig, fantastic, James, looking forward to it. Cheers. I am looking forward to it as well. That's it. If I sound really tired, it's because I am as usual. And Robert McDonald says, I'm building some tomorrow. Okay. Anyway, if you successfully build and replicate what I've shown you here, I absolutely promise you, you will get the exact same results that you see in all of my videos. I've not faked any of them, despite a lot of people said I faked them. I've had people come on here who are supposed, teachers who teach, and they're saying what I'm doing is impossible, and I had to fake it, and sometimes my videos glitch on the upload. They just do, they glitch. And so somebody will catch a little glitch in the video and go, oh, he edited it right there. That's a fake video. Please, all my videos are real. And you'll soon see how real they really are. I'll bet you, even though once I get this running, be it that it really truly does run, I will still be accused of faking my video. You'll see. And by the way, somebody's following me, somebody's stalking me online, and every video, as soon as it's finished, within 10 or 15 minutes, or a half hour maybe or so, before the night's over anyway, before daybreak, gives me one thumb down. So somebody's making a point to give me one thumb down on every single video right after I make it. And by the way, I am shadow banned. There's almost 12,000 people, and there's only like maybe, I don't know how many people are on there right now watching, but it's no 7,000 or 8,000 people. I know that. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to jibber jabber, and thank you for lending me your ears and your eyes, and most importantly, your patience and your understanding. Good night. See you next Friday night, and I should be much further along by then. Feel free to communicate with me online. I do watch the threads. And now back to my fun little toy. Thank you, Angel. Take care, guy or gal, whoever you are. I don't know if you're a man or